Welcome to session 3, the value capture finale, from integration plan to governed operating system. This is where the webcast really comes together. Session 1 asks the question, why has the deal thesis changed? Session 2 then asks, how should corporate development underwrite the asset, the risk, and the terms? Session 3 asks, how does the deal become value after close? We can frame this finale around a day 1 to day 365 value capture model that connects governance, talent, adoption, telemetry, and reinvestment. The central idea is simple. The deal announcement is not the finish line. It is the first public test of whether the acquirer can operate the value system that it just purchased. Let's begin by removing a misconception. AI, it does not make integration easier. It makes integration more value critical. What's the reason for that? Because AI value depends on connection. The model, it has to connect to data. The data, it has to connect to workflows. And so the workflows, they have to connect to people. The people have to trust the system. The system, it has to connect to governance. And the governance, it has to support deployment. And the deployment has to create measurable economics. If any of these links break, the value leaks. And that is why post-close integration cannot be treated as a checklist. It has to become a governed operating system. And that operating system, it needs owners. It needs metrics, cadence, controls, adoptions, routines, model monitoring, governance escalation, customer feedback, financial tracking, reinvestment logic. And this is the work that turns the deal thesis into enterprise value. A practical tool for this session is the Value Leakage Register. Every AI-enabled deal should have one. It should identify the most likely ways that value can leak after close. So let's take a walk through some of the major categories. First leakage is the talent flight. The people who built the AI capability may not want to work inside the acquirer. They may have other plans. They may lose autonomy. They may dislike the culture. Their equity may vest. They may receive offers from competitors or other firms. They may feel that the roadmap has changed. And if they leave, the buyer may technically own the asset, but lose the people who know how to improve it. And that's huge. So the control is not just a retention bonus. It is a full talent integration design. Who needs to stay? Who must stay? And for how long? Under what incentive structure should they stay? And with what autonomy will they be offered? And to whom will they report? Measured against what outcomes? The second leakage point is model degradation. AI models are sensitive to data, context, and use patterns. After close, the data environment may change. The customer mix may change. Workflows may change. The systems may be merged. Inputs may shift. A model that performed well before close may degrade after integration. And so the control is eval continuity. The buyer needs baseline model performance before close. It needs monitoring after close. It needs drift detection. It also needs retraining triggers. It needs rollback plans. And certainly it needs a clear owner, because you cannot manage model degradation if you never established the baseline. The third leakage point is data incompatibility. The target's data may absolutely not map cleanly to the acquirer's architecture. Definitions may differ. Customer identifiers may simply not match. Taxonomies, they may conflict. Quality standards may vary. Rights may not transfer. The target may have data, but the buyer may not be able to use it at scale. And so, therefore, the control is pre close data architecture planning, not after close, pre close, before close. The buyer should know what has to be integrated, what should remain separate, what needs remediation, and what value depends on data interoperability. The fourth leakage point is governance latency. This happens when the deal closes, but the AI capability cannot be deployed because internal risk, legal, privacy, security, compliance, or model governance teams are not ready to approve it. The target may have moved fast. The acquirer may operate in a more regulated or controlled environment. And that mismatch can absolutely create delays. The control is a day one governance plan. The buyer should know which models exist, which use cases are high risk, which approvals are necessary, which policies apply, which audit trails are required, which jurisdictions matter, which customers need assurance. And the governance should not first appear after close. It should be part of the underwriting process. The fifth leakage point is compute cost. Surprise. The buyer may assume software-like gross margins, but AI usage, it may carry high inference costs. As adoption grows, cost may grow with it. The control is compute telemetry, cost per inference, cost per customer, cost per workflow, cost by model, cost by cloud provider, cost under scale scenarios, cost under pricing changes. The operating model should track whether AI value is profitable, not merely impressive. The sixth leakage point is workflow non-adoption. This may be the most common leakage point. The deal thesis assumes users will adopt the new AI-enabled workflow, but employees resist it. Customers do not trust it. Managers do not reinforce it. Training is generic. Incentives remain unchanged. The workflow is not redesigned. The AI tool sits beside the work instead of inside the work. The control is adoption design. Who uses it? When do they use it? What task changes? What decision changes? What incentive changes? What training is required? What feedback loop exists? What metric proves adoption? AI value is created at the workflow level, not the press release level. Our seventh leakage point is customer trust. Customers may worry about their data. They may question AI outputs. They may resist changes to a product they already use. They may ask for contractual protections. They may require transparency. The control is customer assurance, clear communication, contract review, AI SLA monitoring, output quality tracking, escalation routines, customer feedback loops. Trust is part of the value system. And our eighth leakage point, unclear ownership. So this is where everybody supports the deal. But nobody owns the value after close. Corporate development moves on. Integration planning or integration manages tasks. Product owns features. Data owns pipelines. Legal owns risk. Finance tracks synergy. But no one owns the full value thesis. The control is a value capture owner. For AI-enabled deals, I would recommend a joint ownership model. Corporate development owns thesis integrity. The business owner owns economic realization. The CAIO or the AI leader owns AI capability and governance. The integration lead owns execution cadence. And finance owns benefit tracking. Risk, legal, data, security, HR, and product own specific control domains. And that is how the operating system works. Now, let's translate this into a timeline. Before close, the buyer should already have they should already have a verified AI risk register. They should have a data integration view. They should also have a model inventory, a key talent map. There should also be a governance maturity score, a vendor dependency map. There should be a compute economics model. There should also be an adoption hypothesis. There should also be a day one control plan, a value capture dashboard. If those do not exist before close, then the buyer is already behind. On day one, the absolute priority is stabilization. The buyer should not immediately disrupt the asset. It should protect the people, the data, the models, the customers, and workflows that justify the premium. Protect the asset. These are day one priorities. Uh, well, let me rephrase that. Day one priorities should be confirming the key talent retention, uh, freezing high risk model changes until governance is absolutely clear, confirming data access and rights, establishing AI incident escalation. There should be definitely communication with key customers in all cases. And certainly, you want to preserve model performance baselines. You want to ensure that you confirm vendor continuity, set an operating cadence. And so the question for day one is this: did we protect the asset? And as you proceed along by day 30, the buyer should move from stabilization to control. And so, what does that include? Well, finalizing the AI risk register, confirming model ownership, validating data lineage, reviewing customer contract exposure. You want to review that in detail. Uh, Prioritizing integration work streams. You want to ensure that you establish model monitoring, define adoption metrics. And certainly, you want to clarify decision rights so you know what you own. You want to ensure that you have governance forums. And from all of that, the question for day 30 is, do we know where value can be safely scaled and where risk must absolutely be remediated? And then we proceed along to day 100. By day 100, the buyer should move from control to acceleration. You see, this is where the value thesis starts to become visible. And your day one priorities, they should be, you should launch, prioritize AI enabled workflow pilots. You should integrate high value data assets. You want to ensure that you implement governance controls. You want to track customer adoption for sure. You want to monitor model performance and track compute costs, track your compute economics, begin synergy reporting so that you understand where everything stands. Revisit your valuation assumptions against real evidence. And so from all of that, your day 100 question, are we seeing measurable evidence that the deal thesis is becoming operating value? Day 100. And so day 365, a year in, the buyer should be able to answer board level questions, right? Did the deal create value? And not just did we integrate systems? I think that might be a given, right? But did the AI revenue actually grow? Did margin improve? Uh, did customer adoption increase because of this deal? Did model performance hold? Did governance maturity improve? Did key talent stay with the institution? Did our compute economics remain viable? Did the target strengthen the overall platform? And, did the company learn how to run this kind of deal better the next time? Lessons learned, right? And so, from all of that, what's our question? Did we build repeatable corporate development capability? Not just did we complete a single transaction? So, this leads to the final concept. The corporate development operating model itself absolutely has to change, not just in name only. It needs to change in how it works. So the next generation corporate development function needs probably five capabilities. Capability number one is going to be AI ready deal screening. Every relevant deal should have an AI relevant readiness screen before the letter of intent. Uh, Not only AI native targets, but any target that has meaningful data, automation, software, platform, customer workflow, or analytical exposure should be screened. Um, and the second capability is going to be cross functional underwriting. Corporate development must work earlier with data, with AI, product, legal, risk, security, human resources, finance teams, integration teams, commercial teams. This should not be late stage consultation. It should be part of the deal architecture itself. Our third capability, AI specific deal terms. Deal documents absolutely need to reflect AI risk. There's training data provenance, there's model behavior, data rights, vendor dependency, regulatory readiness, output ownership, retention, compute economics, of course, customer AI exposure. If if the risk is AI specific, then the contract architecture should be equally AI specific. Then our fourth capability would be the post close telemetry. The deal team should define the metrics before close. The metrics, for example, AI revenue, workflow adoption, model performance, gross margin impact, compute costs, customer usage, talent retention, governance maturity, data integration progress. These metrics should be reviewed after close and not as just a one-time synergy exercise, but as a value realization system. And then, of course, lessons learned. Capability number five, the learning loop, right? Corporate development needs a learning loop. Every AI enabled deal should improve the next one. What did we learn? Uh, what diligence question did we miss? How do we front load that next time? Which risk was underrated and how do we change our portfolio weighting? Uh, which metric predicted value? Which integration decision slowed us down? Which governance control accelerated deployment? Which which talent issue emerged too late? That type of learning becomes an institutional advantage. And, you know, this is how corporate development becomes an AI value creation function, not because it uses AI, but because it learns how to allocate capital into AI enabled systems and to turn those systems into governed operating value. So let's close the full webcast. Corporate development after AI, it is not simply about finding AI companies to buy. What it is about understanding how AI changes the nature of enterprise value. The value may be in the data. The value may be in the model. It may be in the workflow. The value may be in the talent. It may be in the governance layer. The value may be in the platform position. It may be in the operating system that the acquirer can build after close. And that is why the deal thesis has to change. The diligence stack has to change. The valuation model has to change. The deal documents have to change. And the integration model has absolutely has to change. The next generation of corporate development will not be judged only by whether it's able to close the transaction. It will be judged by whether it can underwrite the system of value that survives after the close. That system includes capital, data, models, governance, people, workflows, telemetry, and also executive judgment. And this is the point where strategy becomes value. And that is why corporate development is becoming an AI value creation function. The premium is paid at close, and the value is earned through data, governance, adoption, and operating model execution. I'm Louis Maverick Adams of the Ether Vector. Thank you for tuning in to all 3 sessions of the Corporate Development After AI series. We'll see you next time.